Brother and sister, on 3 different occasions, the Gospel of the Evangelist told us that Jesus predicted his death in Jerusalem, but also told his disciple that he will rise from the dead. Apparently, it seemed that the disciple did not really take Jesus' word seriously when he talked about his supposed resurrection. To put it bluntly, they did not believe him. So, the resurrection of Jesus for them was something unexpected. It came like a big surprise, almost like a nonsense story. When the woman came to the tomb at early dawn to anoint Jesus' body, performing then an old Palestinian custom, they did not expect to face the resurrection of Jesus. So they were stopped and questioned by 2 men in dazzling clothes who said to them, "Why do you seek the living one among the dead? He is not here, for he has been raised." Brother and sister, this is the good news that break out at daybreak on the Sunday morning. This is the good news that the angel of the Lord brings not only to the woman in the gospel, but also to all of us. Yes, everything happens just as Jesus prophesied to his follower, but they were slow to believe. And it took a long time before they became messengers of the good news of Jesus' resurrection. We know now and we believe that without the good news of the resurrection, there would be no forgiveness of our sin. Without the good news of the resurrection, there will be no church, no Christian religion. Everything would have remained buried with Jesus. But Jesus has truly been raised, and he is living. In the reading of St. Paul to the Romans, Paul tells us what significance the death and resurrection of Jesus would have in the life of a Christian. Those who became Christian at the preaching of St. Paul were all adults. Up to their conversion and baptism, they were living the pagan way of life of sin, a worldly life far from God's grace. But once baptized, they had to make a complete break with their past life, which means no more sin. In the same way, on this Holy Saturday, the Church wants us to reflect on the effect of Christ's death and resurrection on each one of us. Is there some effects? Sure, there are. The death and resurrection of Jesus have also enabled us to reject the life of sin. In other words, to become dead to sin and to be alive with God. So, our death to sin is like Christ's death on the cross. And our starting of a new life in the Spirit is like his resurrection. And we know that if we are open to God's grace, the effect on us of Christ's death and resurrection will continue without stop. Without God's grace, it is difficult for us to avoid great temptation. It is difficult for us to persevere in doing good and to bear the suffering that come to us. But thanks to Christ's suffering and death, we are able to unite all our suffering with His, and to get from Him the strength to overcome temptation and sin. Brother and sister, because we have received that good news that Jesus has truly been raised, and because we firmly believe in it, we must now live as people of the resurrection, as people risen from the death of sin to the new life of children of God. This is this new life given by God and conquered by His beloved Son that we joyfully celebrate this evening. Happy Easter to each one of us. Amen.